he's kind of doing this, and then wham, hit his head on the chips.
Gosh.
Chips bounce everywhere.
Hey guys, this is Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship, and I'm back again with Dusty Pinkchip and David Loudon Often, and we're going to answer a question that someone asked us to talk about, which is how to deal with mental fatigue in the casino. I mean, do you guys remember when you were training what it was like playing, like how long you could play? Maybe the first time you tried to count cards in a casino, how long were you able to play that session?
Goodness, the first few times it was just back counting.
Oh, okay.
And you can back count, you're not risking anything.
Yeah.
You know, so you can get in plenty of hours of practice. But as soon as you're playing, your mental mistakes start counting as money lost. So I kept it pretty short, 2-3 hours, 4 hours.
That's short? I think I was...
Like for my first sessions?
Yeah.
Yeah, part of it was getting over how much money I had too. I mean, like, just getting used to casino playing.
I think my brain was fried in like 15 minutes the first time.
Really?
And then I just went back to back counting. Like, I think I was like,
I had adrenaline. I think I was just like running on pure adrenaline. I was so excited to be doing this. This was like I could have played forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, then let's fast forward. Training, testing out, what was like a typical session in early on when you first tested out?
Well, I was playing locally, so it wasn't there. I wasn't pulling all day sessions. It was, a couple hours here or there.
Yeah.
But then when I started taking trips, it's like I've got these 3 dedicated days.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go hard. Then, and as you start playing, thousands and thousands of hands, it starts to become more normal.
Yeah.
And those late nights would happen where you start to see things.
So to those watching, I'd say the first tip is to really know your limits, and that's okay that it might be a very short session at the beginning that you can handle, and don't feel like, hey, I drove to the casino, I've got to play for 4 hours. If you're like, brain is fried, after half an hour, step away, go for a walk, maybe come back and try again. But it does improve over time. I feel like as you get those hours in, your mental abilities increase. What's the longest session each of you have played?
Ill-advised. Ill-advisedly long. I didn't even realize until I got back to this casino on a subsequent trip, and they were like telling me, you're probably not going to be able to play blackjack anymore. The host was kind of soft, giving me the soft back off. And I was like, why not? Is it because I won so much? And he's like, yeah, that was probably part of it, but also you played 23 hours in one day. And like, I was so desperate. It was at the end of a trip that had totally gone bust. And I'm just like, I remember the sensation of like, I have to quit after this shoe, but like I have a positive count right now, so I can't quit right now, but like I have to quit after the shoe. And they would like shuffle, and I would stretch and just be like,
one more.
Just one more. And like, you can do that for hours. And like, I was winning, I was up, so there was that kind of like justification for it, but like,
so
I'm sure I made mistakes in those
okay, well,
hours.
I want to talk about the mistakes, but I also want to back up, because some people might think he's chasing his money, or you've got a problem playing 23 hours. But as card counters, we're thinking of it differently.
Right.
Explain. So you even said a trip went bust. Explain why you would keep playing one more shoe.
Yeah. So I had a trip to Southern California in which I had accidentally left some money in a bedside table.
How much money did you leave?
It was $20,000, and
In a bedside table
at a Motel 6.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. So I went back to get it. I full on checked out of the hotel, left, went to a casino where I had a comp. They had retroactively taken back my comp and backed me off. So I'm on the highway driving back west and doing like I brought 8 envelopes full of cash with me. I know for a fact I won $20,000. I have $83,000 on me.
And you
That's
should
not
have
right. And I should have
$103,000.
$103,000 on me. I'm like, what is going on? So
Yeah.
I go back to this place and I go to the manager and I'm like, hey, has my room been cleaned yet?
The Motel 6.
Yeah, the Motel 6. I'm like, has my room been cleaned yet? And they're like, whatever, why? And I'm like, well, I left something in the room. So I go up there, it's not there. And it wasn't the manager I had spoken to at first. So I like waited for the manager to come around and he's like, what did you leave in the room? And I'm like, my work papers. And
Which is technically true.
2 envelopes. What's in the envelopes? My work papers. What's in the envelopes? $20,000. You know, I'm not actually hiding anything. Like, obviously you already know, so I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem
he's
like a
like-
fatigue problem.
This is a side story to get back to the fatigue story.
It was 2 fatigue problems because I had played until like 7 in the morning and then gone back to the hotel to go to sleep until they, you know, we had to check out at 11, and I woke up all groggy after like 3.5 hours of sleep and forgot my money in the freaking thing. So that was fatigue problem number 1. And he said, you know, I've already called the police. And I was like, cool, I'll wait. And I think that he hadn't already called the police. He was just trying to scare me off. So the police came when he did call them and took the money. So I had to go back to this place a month later when they finally called me and said they would give me the money back.
Oh, gosh.
To this place that I just burned down. So I had like no places to play. I tried anyways. And then I'm like out the airfare to go get this money back and on a road trip now. And like place after place after place, I get in like 5-minute sessions because I'm flyered.
Yeah. Which
And-
is his picture had been flying around all the casinos because you'd just been there winning tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. So I finally find this place
That lets you play.
lets me play. And they've got decent rules and a high limit. And my trip, like, I gotta turn around and drive like 6 hours back to the
Yeah.
airport, you know, because I'm not gonna switch my flight because that would cost money.
So as a card counter, you're finally able to start generating some serious EV.
Yeah.
They're letting you play. Every hour is worth hundreds of dollars to the team and probably $100 an hour to you.
Yep.
And so you're playing, saying every hour I play, I'm making $100 and
Yep.
the team's making a few $100. And so you just keep playing
Yep.
and keep playing and keep playing. And you find out on the next trip, you played for 23 hours and you probably made some mistakes, which brings us to an important thing about fatigue, which is if you're making mistakes, what should you do?
You should quit. You should sleep. The only thing
Yeah.
you can
I
do
feel like
with fatigue is sleep.
there's a point. I mean, I've probably played 17-hour sessions, so not quite 23. But I feel like after playing many sessions, and some of which probably went too late, I've learned that at some point there's a law of diminishing returns on what you're getting out of your investment. So, you know, a good card counter needs to be 100% accurate. That's just the name of the game. And so, you know, hour 1 I'm 100% accurate, and hour 2 I'm 100% accurate. And so maybe hour 16 or hour 17, it might go to 99.5% accurate. And when I can feel that start to slip, I feel like that's the time to start making the decision of let's call it. Now I can keep playing and do one more shoe to the 23-hour mark. And another factor with this law of diminishing returns is the emotional entanglement of like, there was a hand that I should have won and the dealer drew a 21 and I'm more angry than when I was in my right mind 3 hours ago. And you know, everything starts to break down when you're tired. Your emotions, your mind, your heart, everything. So
That's good. And even thinking ahead to the next day, like, is it going to be worth it the next day? And sometimes as a card counter, it is to say, hey, conditions are good. I'm going to keep playing. Other times, though, if you play too long, it wasn't worth it. You're just hating life the next day. You're exhausted. You know you weren't playing at your best. And what?
Well, I was just going to say, if you make it to the sun coming up, congratulations. The whole next day is going to be you sleeping.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. But I've had those trips where we'd play till sun came up, sleep till 2-3 in the afternoon,
Do it
rinse
all
and
over.
repeat, because sometimes that just makes the most sense. But for those watching, when you start out, don't expect to be able to play long sessions. Don't expect to be able to play very long at all. It's okay. But as you continue training, you get to a point where your game is perfect. Know your limits. Don't play a minute longer that, if you find yourself making a mistake, step away. You can always fight another day as a card counter and move on, get some rest. Sometimes it's even just taking a break for an hour or two. I like to play 3 hours, take a dinner break, go play another 3, call it a night or whatever. But if you're making mistakes, call it a night, get some sleep, play again the next day. Don't pull a 23-hour session.
Don't do it.
Anything else you guys got?
I one time saw a player asleep at the table who was playing the game. He was asleep, and when it would come to him, they would kind of like tap him and go, "You have a 10. What do you want to do?"
Oh my
and he kind of like
gosh.
stir and like make his playing decision, and then go like, and they were letting him play. Another time I saw a dealer fall asleep at a table.
No.
Just standing at a table that was empty, waiting for players late at night. And he's kind of doing this, and then, wham! Hit his head on the chips.
gosh.
Chips bounce everywhere.
That's incredible. Don't be either of those.
He should have called it a night.
He should have, gone home sick or something. We as card counters, we have to do this 100%. Like Loud and Often was saying, if you can't do it 100%, don't do it. It's not going to be worth it to risk your bankroll by playing below 100%. Hopefully that's helpful for you guys, and we'll see you on Blackjack Apprenticeship.